Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
And welcome first-time viewers to the Books by Adrian Author platform. This is season 5 of Livestream Sunday. Welcome to episode 2. I am very, very excited. This is going to be a good one, guys. It's going to be a good one. All right. Thank you all for making last week's premiere episode such a huge success. I'm honestly like a little choked up about it. It was good times. If it's any indication of the rest of the season and where it's going, I have high hopes indeed. The chat was hopping, the guest was awesome, and I'm loving the views analytics all this time later. So big ups to absolutely all of you. If this is indeed your first time with us, welcome. I am your host, Adrian Santiago. I am an author and YouTube content creator, and my debut novel, Mythic Shadow of the Spark, is coming soon. It's a murder mystery set in a sci-fi fantasy world with an ensemble cast of characters, including BIPOC and LGBTQ characters in lead roles, among many other things. Drug culture is represented in it. Lots of good stuff in that book. If this sounds like something that you would like to read, consider signing up for my newsletter, where I'll be announcing the release, performing the cover reveal, and more. The link to the website is both on the screen right now and downstairs in the description. Excuse me. I'm excited, guys. I'm excited. Today's guest is going to be the awesome MIKE DEFRENCH. He is here. He is going to rock it with us. And we're going to talk short stories. We're going to talk about his novels. And he'll be out here with us in just a few minutes. Throughout the show, please label any and all questions for Mr. DEFRENCH with a Q and a colon following that Q. The colon is very important. These two characters are going to help me to track down everybody who gave us a question and ask them later in the show during the live chat. We'll do a little roulette lottery thingy to pick the first person to go, because I can't just do a thing. I got to make it like a whole production, you know? I don't know. A warm welcome to my people in the chat. There's a lot of you in there. I'm going to get to you all individually in just a little bit. But first, our newest and apparently smash hit segment. This week in AuthorTube, our first story. If I can kick it up without making myself look like a dum-dum. Here we go. Our first story is Dan Hook. He's back. His latest video is his first in over a month, and it's all about getting back on track with his writing, with his channel, and more. It's a very bare bones kind of vlog video, which personally I like very much. If you like handsome gents with sexy accents who don't shove Hawaiian pizza and spreadsheets in your face on a regular basis, go subscribe to Dan Hook and let him know in the comments that you want more from him and more often. Now, I know that Richard Holiday is just going to take from that I am insinuating that I think that he's handsome and has a sexy accent. I am not saying that I don't think that, but I'm not saying that I do either. Next up, we have Sarah Sutton. Yes, Sarah Sutton, who brings us a high-energy video on old writing, new writing, and KDP drama. I'm not huge on talking drama on YouTube, but I was very excited to see someone with a messier desk than I have. There are literal sneakers on her desk. What are those doing there? Sneakers belong on the floor. But she does get extra points for those sneakers being Converse. The girls got taste. If you enjoy braided pigtails and good books about teaching the teacher's pet, then go over to Sarah Sutton's channel and show her some love. Lastly, Livestream Sunday alum, friend of the channel, occasional Tuber Book Club panelist, Barrett Laurie. Our good friend Barrett is a force of positivity, creativity, and community support on this platform, and he has been sorely missed on AuthorTube as of late. Turns out homie's been dealing with a lot, and he breaks it down for us, from the book banning that's rampant right now and the Barnes & Noble drama where they're turning their backs on debut authors, or to wrestling with the idea to quit writing his category and genre because he feels his books don't really have a fighting chance in this market right now. Our boy needs some support. So head on over to Barrett Laurie's channel and give him a nice big digital hug, maybe a pat on the digital butt. In my opinion, when the kinds of books that you want to write are under attack, it's more important than ever to keep writing them. But I also completely understand what he's going through and sympathize. So remember, there's always libraries. We've got your back, Barrett. Stay strong, buddy. Thanks again for being here, everybody. Mike DeFrench is going to be out here very, very soon. He's coming up next. But first, that's my not so subtle way of telling you to go buy my stuff. There's a link downstairs. Buy stuff. I need money. I'm broke. All right, y'all. We're back. My guest today is the author behind the Amphetamine Daydream short stories and horror suspense novels with science fiction elements, such as The Game We Don't Play Anymore and Voyeur.exe. Snaps in the chat. Please help me welcome the only author that can challenge my hair game, Mr. Mike DeFrench. Mike DeFrench, welcome. Hello.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Dude, I'm doing good. I think you might have me one-upped on the hair game, though.
Only because I have the fan going, so it looks like it's blowing in the wind. I thought that would give me
if I knew that you were gonna do the fan game, I would have had my fan set up or the window open or something to have.
It actually just gets hot as balls in here, man. I just gotta have, and then I want to show off the merch, so I have to have the sweatshirt on. But I'm like, oh, it's so hot. Yeah, so, you know, we make sacrifices. Mike, thank you very, very much for being here. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time now. Let's kick things off with the very basics. Tell the people at home who you are, where you're from, and what you're currently working on right now.
All right. So my name is Mike DeFrench. I'm from Indiana, Indianapolis. And then what was the third part? What I'm working on? So what I'm working on is Amphetamine Daydreams. Kind of every focus of mine has been moved into Amphetamine Daydreams. It started as just like Substack for short stories, and then it has morphed into something that I'm not quite sure what it is now. It has multimedia, like it's short stories, serialized novels, AI art, illustrations, and then I've also started dabbling into text-based adventures, like those old school style of games. So I'm trying to translate telling a short story into an interactive fiction narrative format, which is also included in those volumes.
So you're an overachiever, I see. Okay, very good. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Thank you for the intro, man. Let's go ahead and take a quick moment to say hi to everybody in the chat, because I'm glad that they're here. General Kenobi was the first through the door. Hello there. We are well. Thank you for asking, Adam. Ben Pick, hello. Welcome. Which one? His or mine? There's a poll going on right now in the chat. Who has the better hair? Me, you, or the guy from Coming to America with the Jerry curls? Let's find out. Everybody, go vote. Lauren, hello. Welcome. Well, who else we got? Richard is here. I hope he completely missed the insinuation. Nope, he didn't. Okay. He got it. All right, y'all. Thank you very much for being here. Welcome. Let's get into it with Senor DeFrench here. My guy, when did you start writing stories, and why?
Okay, so the first story that I can ever remember writing was like it was maybe third grade, and it was like right after I discovered The Hobbit and was like obsessed with these big epic fantasy stories with epic battles. But at the same time, it was like right when Austin Powers was coming out, but that was rated PG-13 or whatever. So I couldn't watch it, but all my friends were watching it and talking about, Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, blah, blah, blah. I had no idea what was going on, but my mind was obsessed with The Hobbit and the Battle of the Five Armies. So I remember writing this like huge, epic, medieval fantasy battle scene between the armies of Austin Powers and Dr. Evil.
Dr. Evil, yes.
Yeah, weird little fan fiction right there, but that was the first thing I ever wrote.
I gotta say, it's the first time I've heard about Austin Powers fan fiction, but you know what? I'm kind of here for it.
I remember writing it.
Check it out.
I remember thinking like, this is gonna be a long one, so I need like a really big piece of paper. Like the idea of having a story be on multiple pieces of paper hadn't occurred to me, so I wrote the whole thing on this giant poster board so it could fit it all.
Makes perfect sense to me. Makes perfect sense.
And then probably multiple years later, I got an assignment or something around October to write a creative writing scary story. And then I wrote that, and then I think I was pretty much hooked since then with writing scary stories. I loved the idea of taking things that I'm afraid of and making other people feel scared from them too.
Sure. Were you one of those kids that like loved like, scary stories by the campfire or like going camping?
No, I was one of the kids that was always freaked out by it. Everybody else fell asleep, no problem, and I'm over there thinking of, yeah, but what about the swamp creature thing that's going to come into our tent and kill us?
Yeah. Why would you tell me that story right before we were kids?
Yeah. I was the kid that was tormented by scary stories.
Interesting. So when did you shift from just writing them to starting to publish your own works?
So that was shortly after high school when I entered the workforce and decided that I hated working. I hated working. So I was like, look, we need to make this writing thing take off. I love writing. And, you see writers out there making gajillions of dollars. Why can't that be me? So let's take it seriously for once and, finish a book and try to do that. And I was going through the literary agent avenue back then. But that was the motivation. I always kept writing just because I enjoyed it and I had stories in my head that I wanted to tell. But the motivation to like get real nitty gritty and serious with it was the fact that I hate working.
It is exactly the same for me. The whole reason I'm publishing my first novel is because I want very badly to quit my day job as soon as physically possible. So I'm here for it. I am getting the warning on my screen here that my Wi-Fi is garbage. I'm seeing out the window that there are, angry clouds above my head. And it seems to only happen on Sundays at 4 p.m. So I don't know why. So if I'm lagging a little bit on my feed here, I apologize. But we'll make do with what we got. Hey, you mentioned that you dabbled in the whole literary agent part of things. How did that go for you? What was that like? Because I haven't gone that route just yet.
It went terribly. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody. I think that self-publishing is, at least right now, 100% the way to go. It's way better. It's way more fun. All of the stuff in your mind that you think is taken care of by going through a literary agent and the traditional publishing, you still have to do all that crap. You still have to build your audience yourself. You still have to do all of that.
Yeah,
you still
they don't
make a cover or something. You're frozen for me. I don't know if I'm still live. If I am, hello everybody. But I can't see anybody's comments. I don't know what to do now. I'm gonna wait it out. I'm gonna wait it out. Is it only me? Am I live alone on his channel? I have no idea. But I guess I should keep talking to entertain the audience.
Very professional.
Okay, wait. What up? We're back. Okay.
Dude, I'm
That
sorry.
was no, I was having a miniature panic attack because trying to entertain your audience. Was I
appreciate it.
still present the entire time for them?
I don't
'Cause
know,
I was just
'cause
like rambling to myself.
I hope that you
But I was
were.
about to go on a long story and wait for you.
my whole thing cut out completely, so I have no idea if you were. I think that you were still on. You were on when I got back. So yeah, apparently I can summon storms. Adam, thank you for the hint, but it is nowhere near the router, so I don't know what's up with that. Richard is probably right. It's all the static electricity from the curls. That makes a lot of sense.
Dude, yeah, that's probably a fire hazard. If
Speaking,
you have like
yeah, this thing almost set my hair on fire earlier. Thank you guys for your patience. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. Where were we? We were talking about literary agents and staying away from them.
Yeah, no, terrible idea, because what's going to happen is you spend, especially if it's your first novel, that's going to take a long time to write, probably, because you got to, figure out how to write a novel. So, you're looking at maybe up to a year of just writing and trying to get that thing, to, a good polished state. And then you're looking at like a year to 3 years of doing the literary agent crap, unless your thing just happens to be, one of the hot topics of the moment. Then you're, maybe that's not too bad of an idea to go the literary agent side, traditional publishing. But I mean, so you're taking years, like realistically years of time to publish your book, when you could do it in a week yourself, and be, having fun with your audience, with your readers, with like, they can read it, they can hold it, you can hold it, instead of waiting forever. And then you still have to there's no magic dust that is, that publishers have that you don't have. There's no like magic spell that they put on a book to make it sell a lot. If it goes through there and your book is still, it is what it is. So if it connects with an audience, great. It's going to connect with an audience if you publish it yourself, or if you go through a traditional publisher. The only difference is that the traditional publisher is going to take a huge part of your money, and so is the literary agent. I think it's 15% to the literary agent. Amazon, I think, takes it's like 30% or something. You get 70% royalties, and that's like after printing costs and all of that. If your book is going to sell, you will make way more money doing it self-publishing, and it's going to take way less time, and you don't have to play by anybody's rules. There's no literary agent that's going to come back to you and say, you got to change this, add this. You said we're going to market this as a science fiction, but it's only 80,000 words. Science fiction is supposed to be 120,000 words. So we need you to add 40,000 words to this before we publish it. Like, no, you just do whatever you want, write whatever you want, publish it, connect with your audience. That's what it's all about. That's what writing is. So yeah, I think self-publishing is right now, how everything is right now, 1 billion% is the way to go. It's so much better.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like a lot of writers, aspire to the whole traditional publishing thing, kind of for the clout, like the status, so to speak. People even today still tend to respect traditionally published authors more than self-published authors. And I'm like, it's exactly the same thing. You're writing a book and you're putting it out. What does it matter whether you do it here or there? Yeah, We have Richard Holiday being a snarky little guy over here. So you're saying Amazon is the most generous company in existence?
To self-published writers, yes, it is.
There you
To
go.
its employees, maybe not.
Maybe not so much. Yeah. Now, okay. So you have on your website a very interesting setup for your newsletter, including free and paid tiers, as well as connections to other authors, which I found very interesting. Tell us a little bit about how all that came together and how it works exactly.
So it all just came about from a friend of mine that I met on Instagram. His name is Ace Michael Montez. And he's a writer on Instagram, and he kind of turned me on to Substack. I'd heard about it before, but I'd never considered it for fiction. From what I had known about it, it was mostly journalists that were using Substack that had gone independent, like Barry Weiss from the New York Times. After she left the New York Times, she started a Substack. There's some other kind of like notable, controversial journalists, Matt Taibbi, and some other ones. But so they moved to Substack as a means of making an income because Substack has built-in monetization. The way that I imagined it was kind of like a Patreon, but for writers. But before I started doing my thing on there, I thought, it was mostly like newsletters or journalists using it. But my friend Montez told me how it's like this. He is so positive on Substack. He'd been kind of researching it and following it as it grew from just like, a startup to what is now and, what it's becoming. And I think he was right on the money. I think Substack has a really good future ahead of it. Crap, dude. This is what I do. I start talking and lose my train of thought. Where was I?
Oh, you were talking about the similarities between like the Patreon setup and how you were kind of seeing that for the newsletter. I found that very interesting because that's how it struck me when I looked at it. How's that working out for you guys? Like, are you seeing like a lot of movement over there? Are people mostly drawn to the free tier? What's going on there?
It's easy to get. So I say it's easy. It's hard to get anybody from a social media like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. It's hard to get them to sign up for something free, let alone buy something. So you have a certain percentage of crossover that will sign up for free, and then it's all just about if you are if you're actually targeting, or if you're actually in front of who your target audience is. The closer you are on that social media, the more kind of signups of free and then converts into paid that you'll get. It's kind of hard, and it's kind of something that you have to do. You kind of have to plan it from the beginning, with social media, because the way that like these algorithms work on Instagram and TikTok is they kind of like go from your first couple of posts to decide what kind of content you make and who to show it to or who not to show it to. So, you kind of want to be conscientious of and kind of think of who is my target audience, like who would actually read what I write, and then what kind of social media content would they consume. And then you got to think of how to say, okay, so go from this social media platform to my Substack, and then to buying my books or being a paid subscriber. It's I'm not good at it, so I wouldn't take any advice from me. That's incredibly difficult. Getting people to buy your stuff that's the writing the stuff I have gotten down. Writing good, that's up to other people to decide, not me. But getting people to buy it is, that's a whole different skill than actually writing it. Like writing sales copy and doing ads and and doing all of that stuff, that's a whole nother thing that I'm just starting to dip my toes into. And it's that, I mean, it's as difficult as trying to figure out how the heck you write a book. Am I allowed to say bad words?
Oh yeah,
Or
absolutely. Let them fly,
Okay.
man.
Okay. I didn't know. I don't want to get you like a strike or anything.
Nah, I'm not worried about
Okay,
that, man.
cool.
Adult channel.
Cool.
Right on, man. That's interesting. Now you have Amphetamine Daydreams, which started out on the website on the newsletter, that whole dealie, right? It is now coming to print in collected works, and you're adding, as you said earlier, kind of multimedia aspects to it. What's that whole process been like for you? Where did that idea even come from to incorporate all that stuff together? What can you tell us about all this stuff going on with it?
So I had the idea for like the text-based adventures. And that's what I'm gonna call it. You can also call it like interactive fiction. I think is kind of the popular term for it in the gaming circle.
Sure.
But it's basically narrative fiction that is, served in a game-like fashion. But I like to think of like the old text-based adventures when I think of it, even though what I'm doing right now is not the old text-based adventures. The old text-based adventures were like, you are in a room. To the east is another room. To the west is another room. In this room, there is a box and a shelf. And then you type in, look at shelf or whatever. I want to get to that eventually, but the way that I'm publishing these kind of games is on my website. So like it's like an unlinked page on my website, and I try to do all the stuff to make it so that it doesn't even show up on search engines, stuff like that. So you need the actual like link to it to find it. So the idea is that, you buy the book and then you can scan the QR code and then you play it on your phone. And so it's reads like a short story, like you're reading through a short story, but then you get to the end of a couple paragraphs and it's got this, you can kind of choose where it goes. Like a choose your own adventure, mixed with a video game, mixed with a short story. I just had always been fascinated by, I play lots of video games, but I don't really play a ton of text-based adventures, but I'd always thought that from like the mindset of a writer, it would be really cool if like, Stephen King or somebody made a text-based adventure. Like what could he do with that? And like, what are the ways that you could take the game aspect of a text-based adventure with the narrative aspect of, literature and create, something really cool with that. And I'm using a engine. It's an open source engine called Twine, but it's not the input text-based adventures, so you're not typing anything, you're mostly clicking hyperlinks. But I want to, so Twine is really good because when you publish, you can save it as just HTML code, and then you can just put that HTML code right on your website, and so anyone can play it online. So that works really good for me for now, but I would love to get to, I haven't found an engine that can create the text input version of that. And then there's also difficulties with the text input version and having like a compelling narrative. The Twine version works pretty good, I think, so far. And I'm still learning all of the stuff that you can do with that. But I love that. And then AI art was another thing that as soon as I discovered that, and then discovered that you own the copyright, at least in the US, in terms of current US copyright laws, anything that you create using an AI engine is, it's as if you painted that yourself.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that is the current law. And that is incredible to me because you can create stuff that you would think would cost like $1,000 to have somebody paint. And you can do it in 1.5 seconds for, 5 cents.
Like the cover to Amphetamine Daydreams in the
Yes.
corner right there.
Yes, that, and then all of the illustrations inside of it are all AI art. All the covers that I for the next volumes of Amphetamine Daydreams that I've been posting on my Instagram, those are all AI art, and I own the copyright to all of those. And I mean, as if I literally sat there and painted that myself, but there's no way I could paint that. And if I paid some talented artist to do something like that, that would cost me so much money. But this, I can have the entire volume fully illustrated in color, and it costs me nothing as long as you like kind of get down the quirks of what prompts and what styles to use for the AI art. It takes some trial and error to kind of be able to get it to generate what you are envisioning in your mind. But once you kind of like work out the quirks to it, I mean, you can create amazing art for nothing that it is entirely free for you to use in anything that you want. It's amazing.
Beautiful. On the topic of the interactive stories, our friend Richard Holiday here says that a friend of his runs these choose your own adventure stories using community votes on Facebook to decide the next act in the story, which is kind of a cool idea. So there's lots of different ways to do it, man. I like it.
That is a cool idea. And I wouldn't mind doing something like that because you can put polls on Substack in your posts. So have some sort of community driven thing. That's really cool.
I like it. Let's see here. Now, some of your short stories have been turned into podcast episodes where you read aloud your own works. Which stories can folks expect on there, and what's the future hold for this now that the collected works are coming out?
My goal is that you can expect every single short story to be included in audio version, and then they will kind of be similar to the text versions of my short stories on Substack. Once I finish the audio versions of my backlogs, it'll be the same as my text short stories, where the newest one is free. And I kind of want to work that into my workflow, because if anybody writes short stories and you don't have the money to dish out, a couple $100 to have a professional editor look at your short story to find typos, read it out loud. You will catch most of the important stuff you will catch. So I kind of want to work that into my workflow. Is like I write the short story, and then before I put it up on Substack, I record the audiobook, make the edits. Both of them go up at the same time. Audiobook is free for a while. Short story is free for a while, basically until the next one comes along. But in the meantime, I got to go through the whole backlog. So there's like 30 or something. So
I always recommend people the same thing. Read your stuff aloud. Like even before sending, I still recommend sending it to an editor. But before doing that, read it out loud, catch all your mistakes. Also, when you're going to read it out loud, change the font on your document. It's like a whole new document. You know what I mean? Like it looks completely different. So you have to read every single word.
Yeah, dude, I just did a podcast just like last week, the Dark Mind podcast, and I think we were talking about the same subject, and he had mentioned something similar. Yeah, changing the font. I've never tried that. That's a really good idea, though.
Yeah, it does a lot to give you fresh eyes on it.
Because that's the kind of the hardest part of editing your own stuff, is like you read the same thing so many times, you're just blind to any errors in it. Like, you're not going to see them no matter what you do to it. So changing the font, that's a good idea.
It's Richard's favorite topic is fonts. I don't know why. Next to Hawaiian pizzas.
What's his favorite font? What's your favorite font?
My two favorite fonts are the ones incorporated in my branding. So we've got Montserrat, which is the little skinny one that says Livestream, and Righteous, which is the little fatter one that says Sunday. Those are my two favorite fonts.
Nice.
I have to say that because it's my brand. But you can get both of those for free on Google.
Heck
All
yeah.
right. Are we talking about fonts? Good grief. Oh man. Lots of good ideas, man. Like you're putting a lot of like just fresh stuff into your stories and into your publishing, and I really, really dig that, man. I appreciate that. Let me see here. So you had already mentioned that you created the beautiful Amphetamine Daydream covers and other pieces of artwork with the AI. Where do you see that going anywhere else in the future? Do you ever see yourself switching over to a professional artist in any way, or are you sticking to this? Like these covers are dope, man.
Yeah, I like making the covers, but I don't think I would like make art for anybody else using AI. I would mostly probably just use it for my own stuff. And I have fun kind of just like seeing what different styles and different prompts, like different combinations of stuff will create, and then thinking of how I could use that as a possible illustration. You know, sometimes it's fun to create a picture and then think of it, be like, all right, well, I don't have any story that'll work for this. So what kind of story could I write that I could fit this in there with? You know, it's a different, it's like getting an idea from a song or something like that, getting an idea from a piece of art. And that's something that, so the new physical versions of Amphetamine Daydreams were heavily inspired by old pulp magazines. So that's why if you get the physical editions now, they come in double columns. They're very much laid out. There's even like fake advertisements in them and stuff like that. Because I really wanted to kind of capture that feel of, you know, older pulp magazines. Crap. What was the start of this thought? This happens to me like 80,000 times a day.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this. You sent me some stuff to read from Amphetamine Daydreams, and you're definitely capturing that. You know, the columns make it feel very much like those old pulpy magazines, and the introduction really got me because of your like little secret message in it. I'll let people at home read it on their own, but man, like as soon as I saw what I was like, what is with this? Oh, I see what he's doing. That, yeah. Again,
Okay.
lots of little like interactive things that you're putting into it.
So that was another inspiration for doing it this way. I had that idea of, so what I'm calling it is the meta narrative of Amphetamine Daydreams. And I had the idea at the start. I didn't have like how to make it work until, I mean, it was the idea of the AI art, the idea of the text-based adventures, the idea of putting it into, you know, this format where it's like an old pulp magazine. All of that kind of like flowed together into this confluence of, okay, now I kind of know how to do it. And so that meta narrative will actually carry through every single volume and build into something that is, you know,
gotcha,
larger.
I'm digging
but it's really weird, and I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of going with I'm kind of just like letting my creativity do what it wants to do and have fun.
Hell yeah.
And it just feels like with this new format that I have with Amphetamine Daydreams, I feel free to kind of just explore whatever I want to, and it can fit into it.
Right on. Now, I found you on TikTok. You're a little active on there. How has TikTok contributed to or detracted from your writing process? What's that whole platform added or taken away for you, you think?
So if the app is open while I'm trying to write, it takes away a ton. That is one of the probably the most distracting app in existence.
Yeah.
But as far as selling books goes or growing an audience, I think TikTok is the best. to do personally.
Nice.
I think it is the easiest to grow the fastest, and it
I did
has
notice that.
lots of built-in features that support community building and like audience interaction and stuff like that. And I think as an independent writer, that's one of the most important things to do. Yeah, hit the like button, people.
Like and subscribe, you dum-dums. Just kidding. I love you.
And I it took me forever to actually get onto TikTok, but once I started like actually kind of taking it, more seriously and using it and publishing videos, I mean, you can see a direct correlation in my book sales versus when I'm doing well on TikTok. TikTok is great at building an audience, and from my experience, there is a active audience, a user base there that wants to buy and read books from new authors.
I completely agree. I'm a couple of follows away from 600, and I've only been on there for a couple of months versus Instagram that I've been on for years now, and I haven't reached 600 yet. I'm still like 40 follows or so away from 600. And again, I've been there years. And on top of that, I find way more interaction on TikTok than on Instagram. People like scroll through Instagram, look at your picture, and keep on going. TikTok, like they'll comment, they'll click on the link. I'm looking at my analytics, and most of my click throughs are coming from there. Like, yeah, man, I'm seeing a lot of interaction on there, and I mean that's just awesome. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I recommend TikTok for any indie writer, even if you don't have a book out yet. I think it's a great, just put yourself out there, be yourself, and
Right on.
People connect with that. People will connect with you, and it's fun to meet people, like, meet cool people, have cool conversations, have friends.
Yeah, man.
It's fun.
I dig it. All right. Thank you so much for those answers, Mike. We're going to switch gears for a second before we continue. Let's take a look at, where is it? Here it is. The comment of the week this week comes from Victoria Wren. This was last week's Livestream Sunday episode with Garrett Robinson. She was only halfway through the interview and bought the paperback of Nightblade. And folks, that's really putting your money where your mouth is, because she could have gotten the digital copy for free by signing up to his newsletter, as we stated in the episode. So big ups to Victoria Wren for showing us all how to support our fellow authors. But also, you should subscribe to the newsletter. It's really dope. All right. Leave comments on my videos, guys, and you could be as famous as I just made Victoria Wren. I did that.
I think I know Victoria. We're friends on Instagram.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
She's great.
Very cool. All right, so let's get into the live chat Q&A right after this. All right, y'all. Let's get into the we already did comment of the week. Let's get into the live chat Q&A right here. Let's do this. Boom. Who's going up first? Oh, that's not right. That's not right at all. Let's try it again. All right. That's not going to work. Let's just do it the old-fashioned way. Here we go. First up, Richard Holiday asks, Did they shag now or did they shag? That's when we were talking. Austin Powers, you dumb. All right.
Oh,
What
took
are
me a second to
right?
figure out what he was asking.
What are some of your inspirations? I'm watching Sandman now, and that cover feels very much like the source material.
So for the covers and stuff like that, definitely graphic novels were a huge inspiration. I actually haven't read Sandman yet, but I do love graphic novels, and I have read, I think, most of Neil Gaiman's novels. I actually haven't read any of his comic book material yet. I plan to eventually, but yeah, so that aesthetic definitely inspired by graphic novels, and then the format, the size of the book is close to a graphic novel as well. I can't hear you, Adrian.
That was my bad. I was
you're
muted.
good.
Yes, I definitely think that you would enjoy the Sandman graphic novels. They're not just epic fantasy, but there's a lot of horror elements in there, and I think that you would really, really enjoy it. Especially again, based on the artwork that you seem to enjoy, it looks like it's ripped from the pages of Sandman. Like, go flip through those books, and you're going to be like, "What the?" Yeah, it's in there.
Do they have like deluxe editions or
yeah, they got
omnibus?
the big mamma jamma beautiful ones.
I'm gonna get that one then.
Oh, so good. They're expensive, but they're worth every penny. They're really, really good. I have the regular trade paperbacks, but that's definitely on my bucket list, is to get those really big ones. I used to have this friend, actually also named Mike, now that I think of it, who had the 4 volumes of those big, like, giant, premiere edition Sandmans on like what are they called, on like podiums, you know what I mean, like just displayed,
little
through his
pedestals.
home. Yeah, like in the 4 corners of his living room, you could go to like a corner and flip through them, and they were just like on display, like just beautiful works of art. It's just so good, so good.
That is definitely how I would get it.
Have you ever played old adventure games like Escape from Monkey Island or Broken Sword? And try not to be offended by the word old adventure games.
Yeah, I have. And then Myst, love Myst. I mean, I like Zork, if we're going real old school, and I'm talking about, the old,
that is pretty old school,
text-based adventures. Zork is like a ton of fun, and you can play it for free online. Also, the text-based adventure version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Nice.
Actually, it sucks. You die like if you do like one turn incorrectly, you die. So it's super annoying to like memorize exactly what you're supposed to do. Zork, you can just kind of like walk around and have fun and do whatever, for the most part. But yeah, I love those kinds of games, and they translate, especially if we're talking Monkey Island, that type of adventure game, that translates well into interactive narrative fiction, because you can learn how to tell a story but add these kind of puzzle player input elements into it as well. So I'm much more experienced in writing a short story than I am in game design, even though I've like played as many games as I have read short stories. But learning how to do something is totally different than learning what you like from something.
Sure.
But those types of adventure games have a big influence on what I'm trying to do with the interactive fiction.
Nice. What is or was your biggest fear as a writer, and how did you overcome it?
My biggest fear as a writer, man, that's a good question.
Adam brings the thunder with the questions.
So, I guess I would go into the actually putting myself out there part of it. I think, I had written before I published my first book, I think I had written like 5 novels before I ever, I was doing the literary agent thing, and I was like, I could self-publish, but I had the mindset that a lot of people I think have about self-publishing, which is like it's like invalid. It's like, as good as doing traditional publishing. But then, there's also this just part of your brain that's like has this fear, even if you don't realize it, of actually putting it out there for people to pay money to read. What you wrote, they got to pay money for it to read it, and they're either going to like it or they're not going to like it. I think that was probably one of the biggest things. And then also just getting something done. I started with novels. I personally do not recommend to start with novels. It's way easier to finish a short story.
Yeah.
It takes a lot less time. You get 8 short stories finished by the time you're done with one novel. But finishing something too can be a source of like fear that you didn't know that you had.
For sure. You damn it, you mentioned something that I was going to ask you about and then I forgot. Everybody's showing you some love about the classics, Zork and
Zork, baby. If you like Zork, I have a short story out. I don't know if it's free on Substack right now, but I'll make it free as soon as we're done here. On my Substack, called The Queen in Yellow. And it was obviously inspired by The King in Yellow. And the whole idea behind that is it's essentially, if you've ever seen the movie The Ring, where like they watch this video and 7 days later they die. It's kind of like that, but The King in Yellow is a play where everybody who reads this play like ends up dying, kind of like the exact same plot of The Ring. And so The Queen in Yellow was like my take on that, but instead of a play, it's a text-based adventure, exactly like Zork. But whoever plays it dies. And then it's about a Twitch streamer, like a 50,000 subscriber Twitch streamer that gets this like cursed game and decides to stream it because he's whatever, fuck it, who cares?
And he's got like millions in his audience, so now everyone's gonna die.
Yeah, dude. And it's like trending on Twitter and stuff.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I thought that was a cool idea for a short story.
That's dope. I like it. And I remember now what I was going to ask you. You mentioned, writing a good like 5 novels before you started publishing anything. What happened to those 5 novels? Did you ever publish them yourself afterwards? Are they still, in your archive somewhere? Any plans for those? What's up with that?
Yeah, no, they're gathering dust. There is one of them that was never finished. So I don't think it's actually included in the 5, but I'm still like pretty fond of it, and it's in like a totally different voice than my normal voice.
Sure.
It's written in a voice that's very much epic fantasy, even though it's science fiction. So it's kind of like science fantasy where like it reads like it is Lord of the Rings, but it has spaceships and laser guns and stuff in it. Nice. And there's parts of that, there's like chapters of that I still really, really love and I think are really good. And now that I'm doing the Amphetamine Daydreams thing, I can kind of like just take these like kind of cool snippets from that I think are really good and really cool and put them in there as a short story. So there is one book that I am kind of reviving. The rest of them I have either rewritten from the beginning. So there's like my second attempt at a novel went to 50,000 words and I didn't like it. And then I did it again to 95,000 words, still didn't like it. And then I did it again. And that is the game we don't play anymore.
Right. So you wrote it 3 times.
Yeah. My attitude, I hate editing so much that I would rather start from the beginning again and just try to do it right that time than try to fix something that didn't work. I just love I love writing more than I love editing.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense.
But
Yeah,
yeah, so
I'm in the middle of editing my novel, and it's a big one. It's over 160,000 words, and just
I don't envy you.
oh, it's a hassle, man. And I'm way behind schedule. Well, not me, my editor is behind schedule, and then I'm behind schedule behind her. So yeah, man, just write shorter stories, people. Don't do what I do, writing epic stories. You mentioned amphetamine daydreams again, and it led to this. Where did you get the name amphetamine daydreams?
Probably Adderall.
Yeah.
I'm being serious.
We're at here, dude.
But plus it just kind of has this kind of like it's got this rhyme to it, and like originally I think it was just like one dot in a list of short story collection titles that I had thought of, and like I had some other ones that I thought were cool, but then I was trying to up my Substack because I saw that anybody else that publishes good stuff on Substack, they kind of have like a cool name for their Substack, and mine was just like DeFrench writer, and I was like, I gotta come up with something cooler than that. And so I just took that one from my list of cool short story collection titles, and then as it was going on Substack and I started thinking of this whole pulp magazine style thing, I was like, dude, just do that and kind of like make this whole collective thing out of it. But yeah, right, Adderall is where that came from.
It makes perfect sense to me. Does the title cause you any issues with the word amphetamine being in there with filters and such?
Not yet, but what did cause me issues, and I just learned this recently, and maybe this is why I'm still working my day job, that checkbox in KDP that says if this contains any situations unsuitable for people under 18, never don't check that unless you're publishing hardcore porn, because they don't give a shit if it says the F word or if it's got a murder or something. I mean, I was going through and I was like, yeah, my characters say the F word, somebody dies, this probably is, no, that puts it into like the X-rated material box that no one ever sees. So probably nobody that I didn't physically tell to go buy my book ever bought my book because I checked that checkbox. The word amphetamine hasn't done shit.
It's probably a twofold problem too, because not only are people who want to read your book not able to find it because it's in like the X-rated place, but then the people looking for X-rated books will find your book and be like, this doesn't have what I'm looking for in there.
There's no sex in this at all.
There's no sex in this at all. And they again pass it up. So that's a double-edged sword right there, man.
Which is weird because so like I've bought my own books because it's way faster to just like mark the price down on your book to the minimum price and then buy it through Amazon Prime than it is to order a author copy. So if I want something quick, I'll do that. And then I'll notice that it's like grayed out in my cart or in my order history saying, for your privacy, we've, masked this thing. I was like, oh shit. And then I went on some Reddit thread and realized the whole mistake that I had made with that. And then I have ordered actual erotica audiobooks and they aren't grayed out. So they didn't check the checkbox. And trust me, they should have, dude. They should have. Is that I
See,
did
now
that
I'm wondering because I have a couple of sex scenes in my book. They're not incredibly graphic. They're important to what's going on with the characters, I feel. But it's not like, I mean, I don't intend for it to be like hardcore porn, as you say. But see, now I'm like,
okay, so I made this like meme joke video on TikTok about how I invented a new genre called esoterotica and blah blah blah, and then I got like 1,000 comments on it like, oh my gosh, you need to actually write this though instead of it just being a joke. And I was like, I guess I can try to write erotica. And I was like, I've never read erotica. So I went and I bought some erotica to read it to be like, can I actually write this? The one that I got was called The Never King. It's basically like a porn version of Peter Pan, and in it, stop me if I'm going to get your channel banned or something.
No, man, let it rip.
It has a scene where the Lost Boys Eiffel Tower windy. I don't know if you know what Eiffel Tower is.
I've got a visual in my head. Yeah.
Have fun with that. Have fun learning what that is. But I read that.
Go Google that yourself on your own time.
The fuck did I read, dude? And then I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to write this.
Yeah.
So I'll stick to what I'm doing. But that thing did not have any sort of privacy block in my cart. But my own books did. So if you are self-publishing, never check it. Unless you have just the worst stuff. Don't check it. Don't check it at all.
Good advice. When writing, do you listen to music? If so, lyrics or no lyrics? He's the lyrics guy himself.
I am a no lyrics, strictly no lyrics. Lyrics tend to mess up my flow. Mm-hmm. And
that's not to say that you can't be inspired by songs with lyrics in them to create a story, but maybe don't play them when you're writing, because the words going on, that it's the same thing for me. And Adam, who asks the question, has voiced that he's been having trouble writing before. So Adam, I would recommend maybe trying lyricless music next time that you sit down and write, just because it may actually be the lyrics that are throwing you off and you don't even know it. Movie scores work best for me. There's concentration music on YouTube that I use a lot, especially if you're writing a certain genre. You can find like very genre-centric music on there to kind of set the mood for you. And, no lyrics. You can just be kind of alone in your thoughts. It becomes white noise anyway once you're like clickety-clacking. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what you want.
Zone. Yeah,
that's what you want. For sure. This is a reference to his own book where he had a line about whaling a mattress. That's... Richard, get out, Richard. Just get out. We closed the polls. My audience is biased. They picked me, but
get out of here.
I feel like they're just doing it to be nice to me, really. However, you did get at least 2 new signups to your newsletter, so I hope.
Oh, wait, right on, boom. People. Right on.
That's why we do what we do here.
Welcome to the fun, dude.
Well, yeah, man. I signed up myself. I'm having a blast.
I'm lacking on uploading new stuff to Substack right now, just because I've been so focused on. I wanted to have 3 volumes out when I kind of launched the physical version, but as soon as this is in there, the stuff on Substack is going to be. I'm gonna have audio versions, the art, all that jazz.
There's already plenty of stuff on there for now as it is to keep them busy until the new stuff comes out. So yeah, like it's new to them.
And then Queen in Yellow, I will make sure that I make that free tonight if you want to read that, if you're interested in the whole Zork thing.
I like it. All right. So we have a good 10 minutes left in the show. That's all of the live chat questions that we have so far. Guys, if you have any last minute questions for Mr. DeFrench here, please go ahead and throw those into the chat now before we start wrapping up. Mike, you're a pleasure. You're a delight. Thank you so much for your time and your generosity of spirit. And I can't wait to talk to you on Typewriters Podcast. That'll be a little more intimate. Just you and I.
Yeah. So, dude, I love your live setup. I gotta give you massive kudos for this, because this is great, dude. You've put so much work into this. This is so legit.
Thank you for saying so.
No, seriously. I can't believe it. This is awesome. You are doing a great job here.
I work really hard at it. Now I just need to call my internet provider and yell at them to fix my upload speeds, because my download speeds are awesome.
They're just gonna make it worse as soon as you call them. Charge you more. They're gonna be like, oh wait, you're getting this, and we only charge you $70 a month.
I know you're probably right.
For this
is such an ongoing problem.
It should be $120 a month.
Shit, you're probably right. You're probably right. All right. So I'm not seeing any new questions in the chat, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Mike, go ahead and I spoke too soon. One last one. Just wanted to say that I know today is a bad day for America and the world. You are in my thoughts. It's a bad week all around the world, man. The Queen died, like all kinds of shit's going on. So yeah, let's just try to focus on good stories. How about that, Adam? Way to bring us down at the end of the show, Adam. Jesus.
Right, yeah. Now I'm really depressed thinking about 9/11, Queen dying. And
yeah, I'm real bummed out, man. I'm gonna
my day's ruined. So.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Way to go.
Great.
Not at all. In fact, this is just a little ray of sunshine on a shitty anniversary. That's how I think of it. Richard is a British gentleman and a very patriotic one. So I know that Richard's been feeling it this week. So we're with you, buddy. It's all good. We're gonna be okay. You have a king now. It's all Game of Thronesy. It's gonna be great. All right.
Game of Thrones was not, that doesn't end well.
Damn it. I just can't win. All right, y'all. Mike, go ahead and say goodbye to the folks at home. Tell them what you got coming up. Remind them that what you got coming up, and then we'll wrap things up. Go ahead and take the floor.
Thanks everybody, especially anybody new that signed up for Amphetamine Daydreams on Substack. I'm going to have volumes 1 through 3 of this little beauty here. This is, if I can open to there you go. It's fully illustrated with nice color pictures and all of that stuff, and lots of like little hidden intricate secrets and weird stuff. Kind of imagine a pulp magazine mixed with the book House of Leaves, mixed with, I don't know, the brain of Philip K. Dick, and I don't know. It's a bunch of weird stuff. It's kind of like all of my insanity put into one thing. It's a lot of fun. And then Substack is, that's the up-to-date. You're getting everything out of that. But yeah, thank you everybody who is at all interested. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love the support. I love the interest. And I love hearing from you guys.
It's why I do this show, man. We all just want to kind of support each other. There's a nice little community of authors here on YouTube. There's another one on TikTok. There's another one on Instagram. I'm trying to connect everybody. So some of my guests come from each platform, and I try to just, hey, everybody, here's some people that you don't know about. And your stuff being a collection of all of your interests, that's exactly what I'm doing too, man. My book is exactly like, I even have actual stories from my life that I fictionalized for my characters and thrown in there. That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. Oh, yeah. I created a character that works at a hotel just so I could tell stories that I have witnessed working in a hotel.
My
book. That's what we do.
I do that all the time. I throw in a lot of personal stories. It's very fun. And that reminds me, I actually I have an old YouTube channel. I don't really upload anymore, but it was Pints and Paperbacks. It was like booktube, if you're interested. But I think I might upload like the audio versions of some of my stories to that channel. But if you want to see me from like 3 years ago, there's specifically one video where I'm talking about like my top Stephen King books, and I am wearing a dress, holding a hammer, pretending to be what's her name from Misery? I can't think of it. Annie Wilkes.
Yes. Well, now I know what I'm doing after we record. I'm gonna go check that out. And if you do decide to put up some audiobooks on your YouTube channel, hit me up for some animations, man. I'd love to create something for you.
Sweet. Heck
if
yeah.
you're in the market for it.
Absolutely.
Pints and Paperback sounds amazing. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it was all about beer. So it was like
he already found it.
There you go. It was like drink a craft beer and talk about a specific book. That sounds like a great idea until you want to record 3 videos in a single night. And you're drinking like 3 9% beers within like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
maybe don't record those in bulk.
Yeah.
Maybe one at a time for that.
Doesn't work out very good.
Dude, you're a blast. I can't wait for Typewriters Podcast coming up next. Folks, Mike, thank you again. Don't leave. We have more coming up between you and me. Folks at home, if you enjoyed at all, I keep getting the direction right. If you enjoyed hearing from Mike DeFrench at all, come back here to this channel, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, the 15th, for his episode of Typewriters Podcast. I will see you all back here next Sunday for an all-new episode of Livestream Sunday with next week's guest, Lauren Sefcik, who is the author of, actually, let me throw up the thingy here, who is the author of Key of Arcandus, book 1 of the Carving Legacies series. Another book with a gorgeous cover, much like Amphetamine Daydreams right here. So come back for that next week, 4 p.m. Also, Mike, thank you very much for connecting me through your newsletter to these other authors as well. Because once you sign up, you get notified for everybody else. And I've already met some cool people and connected with them on Instagram. So thank you very much for supporting the community in your own way as well. So that's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. And that is a built-in feature of Substack. Substack is not an algorithm-driven platform, so you build audience by the readership, and writers can recommend to their audience other people. Substack doesn't really recommend you anything through an algorithm. It's all
nice
based off of what authors recommend. So that's a cool thing about that platform that I forgot to mention. But yes, everybody, thank you. Like and subscribe and comment and do all that jazz. This guy's
where the buttons are? Do them. This guy's awesome.
No,
both guys are
this guy. This guy right here.
All right, y'all. Right on, writers. We are outie.